Welcome to Whimsical Farm, and today we're going right into bone broth. We're going to do an overall review of how to do this process, and then I will be inserting the steps that I did so we can save a little bit of time. So here's how we would start with the bone broth. We start with a really nice high quality pressure cooker. This one is a Buffalo. It's a heavy duty stainless steel, and I will have a link in the video so that you can see what we do. Then we would load all of our bones in here and our water, salt and pepper, lock it down, cook it for 4 hours. Now, some people don't like just the plainness of the beef bone broth, so feel free to add in a little bit of chicken, or make sure you brown it, or some lamb chop, or maybe some rabbit. And whatever you put in here, the bones, they must first be cooked in the oven until they're brown. We use 400 degrees for about an hour, so that browning of the meat that's left on the bone and the fat that's left on the bone will give you a lot more flavor. So first, and I'll show you that, we're gonna go through those steps. First, you will brown it, and at this point, this will jump to a different video where it's gonna be browned. Now that it's browned, we would take the brown meat, put it in here, and add your water until it just covers the bone, and then lock it down good. Once you get it locked down, pressure cook it for 4 hours. At the end of that 4 hours, take the lid off. We'll take your snappers and go in and fish out all the bones. You can see what we did here. So fish out all the bones. The larger bones, your dogs can have those because they're very soft and tender. They won't cause a problem with them getting choked. So pull all the bones out. Your next step would be to take this pot, and it will have all the fat, and it will have the jelly and everything and the water all blended together. Pour it through a colander like this, or a screen, whatever you've got. This is what we had handy, was a colander, and it has 1/8 inch holes. You'll need a little taller pot than this. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. Then you take all of your good bone broth, and it'll have chunks of meat, chunks of little pieces of fat, a little bit of gristle. Now that you get the bones out, and you pour that through. So once you pour that through, now you'll have a few more little specks and bits. Throw them in with the bones. That step's done. So then you stick the whole thing in the refrigerator, and when you refrigerate it, you'll end up with something gorgeous like this. Look in here. Now I need you to zoom in here, honey, if you could. Zoom in there. This is after it sat in the refrigerator for a few hours, and this is 2 parts, okay? We're gonna talk about 2 parts, and I'm gonna show you how to work on this. I love anything that's a process where you start with something and you go through steps and then you end with something. This video will show you that process. So the first thing that we're gonna get, this is bone broth, but it has 2 components, 2 major components. First one is the wonderful beef tallow on the top. Now watch this. Look at that, it's like butter. So we'll take that tallow off, and we're going to skim it. It's not that much, but it is very valuable. Now, what can you do with tallow? Well, this tallow is great to coat chicken with before you smoke it, and put a little dry rub on it. It's great to cook with in the pan. Just put it right into your pan like you would bacon grease, except this is highly refined. And it's good for you. It's got a lot of minerals and vitamins, a lot of elements in that fat. That's the fat of the field from the grasses. It's actually came from the field. That cow, he can be raised on straight grass and he can get big and fat. That's one of the reasons that we switch over to carnivore. Look up just a second. The problem with just eating grass and vegetables and broccoli and all that, you've been told your whole life that if you just eat grasses and green stuff and salad that you'll get skinny. I see a whole lot of fat people at the salad bar now. They may be eating other things. But you look at a black Angus out in the field, and he's sitting out there eating grass all day long. And what is the French? There's a Charolais cow that it is known for its ability to eat grass all day long and make 4 pounds of body weight off of nothing but grass. Now, if you watch a lion, he goes out into the woods and he finds a gazelle, or he finds a wolf, or he finds a small bear, or anything else on the smorgasbord that he wants, but he eats meat. He eats the guts, he eats the muscles, He eats the heart, he eats the tongue, he eats the tail off of it. He eats meat is what that lion eats. You don't ever see fat lions. Now you could say, well, they run all the time. That's also not true. That king of the jungle male lion sits around in the camp and the girl does most of the running and making babies, but they are eating meat and they are super strong. Their blood vessels don't stop up. So never be scared of fat. Let's look at this, finish this up. We are getting the beef tallow off. This beef tallow is not something to dread. It's not dangerous. It's not going to hurt you. That's got a few little specks of brown meat. No big deal. So get that out of the way. Now the next step is, we'll say this step goes here. It's done step. There's our tallow. We will put that in the refrigerator and we can remelt that and put it in little jars. Put it in whatever container that you like. It's just fine. Now this pot, let's look what's in the bottom of it. A whole lot of nothing. This pot right here, when you put this back in the fridge, this hadn't been in the fridge very long. This pot will turn into gelatin. It will be so jello-like that when you get ready to make your beef broth, all you'll do is you'll scoop out a couple of scoops of the gelatin. It'll be very thick. You don't think that'll be thick, but it will. You scoop that gelatin out, put you a couple of scoops of that. You could put some vegetables if you'd like to have some celery or some onions or carrots or a couple of little chunks of meat, chicken, beef, whatever. You've got your beef broth stock. And it's actually from the bone, but it's got some beef in it too because those bones had beef and fat on them. But this wonderful bone broth right here is filled with all kinds of minerals. And look up just a second. For people that have problems with their joints, first thing to do on your joints if you're having problems, pains in your knees, is get the weight off of you. Switch to a carnivore diet. That will start trimming fat off because you won't be addicted to sugars. You won't be eating Twinkies and donuts and ho-hos and ding-dongs and buttercups and ice cream, all kinds of weird stuff. And, you know, go to Sonic and get you a Butterfinger Blast. That's like 3,000 calories because it's ice cream and the Butterfinger's crunched up and then a whipped cream on top. By the time you eat that, you need a shot of insulin. Your sugar's crazy. So by doing this, you can start trimming that fat off your body, and that will help your joints. Your knees will feel better. But this bone broth is filled with collagen. It's got collagen in it, which is God's natural lubrication for your joints. You need that collagen, and there's all kinds of other trace minerals and elements and vitamins in that bone broth. So take a couple of scoops of your gelatin looking stuff, add water as you see fit to make it as strong or as weak, a little bit of salt and pepper. This is what I've learned from the Japanese. You go out to a Japanese restaurant, they are different type of people than us. They eat, their culinary desires are different. Americans are big on going thick broth, thick beef stew, real thick, everything has to be thick and packed with flavor. They make a little soup, which is almost water to me. It's miso soup, and it's good. My wife loves it. It's not my forte. I needed a little stronger. I put me about 4 bouillon cubes of chicken or beef in there and stir it up. Now I got some soup. Well, you can do the exact same thing with this. Take your 2 scoops of gelatin out and you add in a cup of water or 2 cups of water, or maybe you don't want any water at all. Maybe you want it that heavy duty. So, but that's your base. I like having a base because then you got something to work with. So let's review real quick. Here's your steps. You start off with a pressure cooker. Pressure cooker's here. Right now it's a paper towel. Pressure cooker. You brown the meat. Get it cut into usable sizes. You bake it in the oven 400 degrees for 1 hour. Take the browned meat and bones, throw it in. Add water until the bones are covered. Now remember, on a pressure cooker, they'll tell you not to go up to the tip top because you wouldn't have any headspace for steam. So don't put too many bones in. You want to end up with about 3/4 of a container. So then lock her down. Cook that for 4 hours. Make sure that your counterweight's rattling on the top for 4 solid hours. Then after that, you pull the top off. Once the steam has released, pull all your bones out. Get the bones out, chunks of meat, whatever big things, because we're trying to get to a liquid. Then you would put your strainer in place. Now the strainer's there. You would pour all this contents, pour it through the strainer, and you're getting all the beef bits and pieces and scraps and all that stuff out of it. You put that in the fridge, let it chill for a while. After it chills, you end up with this container here, which would be the next step. It will have that nice beef tallow on the top. Go ahead and extract your beef tallow with a spoon. You've got it, and you're left behind with the gelatin stuff, which is your bone broth. So this can be used for cooking, for searing in the pan. You just take a little scoop of that, throw that in your iron skillet, and then you can lay your hamburger patty on top of that, or some nice chicken that you want to fry real good, or whatever that you want. You can use this like butter. Use this just like butter, or just like you would if you were using pork, which is you know, your pork fats. A lot of people buy that. It's a nice refined lard, but some people are scared of lard. But here is your answer. If you don't like lard, you want to be kosher, you don't want to have pork involved, use this. Now you've got something that's a kosher fat that you could use. So thank you very much for visiting with us. I hope that I've covered everything. We're in the wind out here. Make sure, please, that you look for the link to this guy, because that is a super strong pan buffalo. It is purchased on Amazon. I'll have you link for that. Use whatever containers that you have around the house that'll work good. Stainless steel is always in preference to aluminum because it can mess with your brain. Just stick with stainless steel. Carnivore diet, definitely look into carnivore because it's the way to go. There's doctors all over the world that have switched themselves and their patients to eating only things that come from animals. That would be beef, lamb, chicken, fish, eggs, cheese, heavy creams, heavy milks, anything that comes from an animal, fish, tuna, sardines. That stuff will make you grow like crazy, be stronger. I started off at 278 pounds. I'm not no skinny mini, that's for sure, but I was 278 and now I'm at 200. So 78 pounds of my body weight is gone because I got off of sugar, I got off processed foods, and now I want to be like a lion and eat meat. Last thing I'll say to you is, please hit the subscribe and the like, and if you do that, go to the comment section and say, hey, I liked your video, or hey, your video was crazy, I don't like that. You'll see me using a Sawzall in the kitchen and cutting up bones during this video. All kinds of crazy things will happen, but that subscribe and like will help our channel to keep growing and getting bigger, and make my wife happy. And if you can help me do that, that's just going to make my life a lot better. So like, subscribe, hit the little bell notification. You'll get fresh videos. We're making them every day. So thanks again for watching, and be blessed with Carnivore. Enjoy your bone broth. Talk to you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.